Hello, hello. Let me go ahead and get my settings together. There we go. Hello, Miss Ashley. How are you doing? I'll be able to go ahead and get Miss Ashley up here. I hope everybody's doing all right. We are going to be able to start in just a minute. Hello, Mr. Ashley. How are you doing today? Can you hear me all right?
I'm doing fine. How are you? And apology accepted.
Yes, I apologize. Yes, sir. I am doing good. My motto is I'm alive, so I'm doing it right.
Hey, yeah,
Yes,
that's doing good for these times for sure.
definitely. I figure you can't go wrong. It sure beats the alternative, you know?
That's
So
exactly right. Yeah,
yes. So yeah, we could go ahead and get started. And everybody will just kind of join in and trickle in as we go along or so. Well, again, thank you for coming along. This is our vote count. My name is Divine McMillan. I will be the moderator for this afternoon. So our vote counts is a nonpartisan correlation of citizens from diverse states and backgrounds, united by a shared commitment of empowering voters for promoting candidates who stand for integrity, inclusion, and accountability in upcoming elections. Formed by a collective of educators, veterans, small business owners, students, communities, advocates, our vote counts represents the strength of unity across geography, race, ideology. While our stories are different, our mission is the same: to ensure that every voice is heard and every vote truly counts. So, again, we are joined this afternoon by Ashley Hammac, Democratic candidate running for Indiana House Representative, District 16. Yes. Would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
sure. Yeah, so I've lived in Indiana since 2013. I'm a father and a soil scientist. I am definitely not a politician. I don't really want to be here, to be honest. You know, this is way far outside of my comfort zone, and
Okay.
I'm doing this because I have a duty to do something. And honestly, I thought, well, I'm talking a lot, I'm speaking out, but if we lose this republic, then it'll be hard for me to look my kids in the eye and tell them that I did everything that I could. Um, so I really am a strong believer in, um, self-governance, our system of self-governance. The Constitution, I know it's not perfect. It never was perfect, but it bends towards more perfect, as we go along, I believe. And I believe that we have the power, of our voice, of our, all the rights that we have in the Constitution, to keep bending it. So, I have a lot of other like smaller, things that I like to do, but as the grand scheme of things, I just wanted to step up and be a example to others that, like, regular people, we need regular people to step up and run. And whenever, like my mom used to say, whenever a bully comes to the playground, you have two choices. You can leave and never come back, or you can go get your boys or your friends and you can go back to the playground and reclaim that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to, rally the troops, the regular people, not the career dynasty, rich boy, politician class. I'm just a, poor boy from Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama. And that's all I got,
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. It really sounds like you care, like you speak from the heart. Is what it sounds like, and that's good. We need more politicians out there that really care. They're in it because they are from those communities and they care about the people and they know what's going on. They're not just there just to make their wallets bigger. And so I really appreciate you being on here. So just as an icebreaker question, what is one visible change that you would like to see made if you was elected?
One change. So I'm a soil scientist.
Okay.
And so one of the things that, is really dear to my heart is conservation in agriculture. So yeah, if I can expand conservation, cover crops, no-till, more diversified cropping systems with, integration of animals, just basically expanding conservation to improve soil health and water quality, air quality, and basically try to preserve our food system, our source of food. We need to be, figuring out how to eat clean food, not like just something that looks like food, that to me is what, like, the big corporations, big ag has figured out how to create something that looks like food, but it's not really what we grew up on, like in terms of like good old homegrown, vegetables and, things like that. And so, and it's also about protecting the resource, and improving the quality of like water, like people talk about healthcare, but whenever you go to the doctor rarely will talk about root causes. And root causes include air quality, water quality, and food quality. And so if we can clean up those areas, I think a lot of our healthcare problems would be taken care of. If we're drinking clean water, we're breathing clean air, we're eating good quality food that doesn't have a bunch of toxins in it, we won't have some of these, epidemiological problems that we have that's plaguing the healthcare system.
I truly believe that. Yes, sir. I really believe that's a very important avenue to go down, especially with the way the economy is going today. It is very important. I know there were a lot of farmers, recently that were trying to expand their farms and they were not able to. I know that we do have a very a significant reduce in good crops and stuff like that, and how we gonna survive. Like we can't live off of other countries doing everything for us all the time. So that is very, very important. So okay.
So real quick, I just wanted to say I live in a very ag dominant district. So there's not, farmers don't dominate the constituency, but farmland dominates the area, the land area. So it's a big thing in terms of job creation. Also, if we're doing things to, improve the entire supply chain of food production, that's also about job creation too. So just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah. You're right. You are absolutely right about that. So, good one. Okay, so we are going to go over how this is going to work. We're going to go over 5 topics. Okay, you're going to get a chance to answer around 2 to 3 questions from each topic or so, and in between the topic, somewhere along the way, we're going to stop around twice if we have time to do the second one to do rapid fire questions. And so the when we're going through the 5 topic, those are open-ended questions. But during the rapid fire, you have the choice of either A or B, or that's it. Okay, kind of a get to know you type deal. Okay, but to go ahead and get things going. Okay, so to go ahead and get things going, the topics that I'm going to cover over today are going to be public education, healthcare, affordable housing, voting rights, and job creation. So, for public education, what changes do you believe are most urgently needed in Indiana's public education system?
Oh, excuse me. My phone just rang. So one thing that's seems like it's constantly under attack is just funding. Funding for teachers, like whenever there's like an attrition of teachers like retiring, but then they don't get like their replacements hired back. And Indiana there's like this push to try to for the state to preempt local rule and to preempt county and town sovereignty to be able to rule itself and to say what like what's happening with these funds. And so teachers' salaries are under attack. And so that's one thing I would like to do is to perhaps by through the job creation and economic stimulus that we can do in terms of like small businesses, we can help pay for some of to improve the funding towards teacher salaries and just funding towards education in general. I think that's a big one.
That's good. I like that. So for the next one, it asks, how can the state encourage development of affordable housing without overregulation?
Okay, so one of the things that it's kind of like a lot of my ideas kind of are all like different little pieces of the same puzzle.
Yeah.
Right. So like
I know how that
small town America, like all over, to me is kind of crumbling. There's not a whole lot of reinvestment back into small towns and small communities. And so, that like I think a lot of the money that's going towards creating affordable housing is going into these large population centers, and some of the small towns are being forgotten about. So, some things that we can do are providing like tax benefits, like tax refunds or tax credits for improvement of efficiency, like of renovating some of the housing that is existing in the small towns, because there's a lot of like blight and dilapidated homes out in the small communities that are just kind of like, well, it's like, what are we going to do? It's the cost of utilities to heat and cool these old houses is just it's not worth it without some type of reinvestment. So rather than redirecting money away from small communities and putting them towards like these urban centers, and I'm not saying like I don't have anything, I grew up in a city, so like I have nothing against cities, but it's just like when we're redirecting that money, we just have to be careful, like because small town America is kind of like, to me, that's what, like, there's a lot of things that would make America great again, and that like I have my own problems with that whole like statement in general, but like there's some truth to it. Like like when small towns were like hustling, bustling, little thriving communities, and you drive through there now, and there's just like little ghost towns. And to me, that's like
It's so true.
Like kids, riding their bikes up and down the street, like playing all over the neighborhood. We used to do that stuff when I was growing up, and like my kids, don't really do that stuff anymore. And their friends don't get out on their, like we would be gone until the sun goes down, on our bikes, and stuff like that. And so, just, and so that gets back to like, kind of like taking corporate ag, at least in my district, like taking corporate ag out of the equation, or like quit greasing the skids to make it easier for corporate ag. They already got it easy enough. Let's grease the skids for the small time farmers and the small time grain processors, the small time meat markets, the small time slaughterhouses and things like that can help. Those are where the jobs, like the big corporations, they do provide a lot of jobs, but small businesses provide the most jobs overall. You know what I mean? And so when companies are too big to fail and they're getting the bailouts, meanwhile, like small businesses, they don't get any bailouts. I mean, there has been some, like COVID relief funds, but I think, went to a lot of small businesses, but like, just, that's another thing is like the definition of a small business in Indiana is anything 499 employees or less. So, like 499 employees, that
still
doesn't really sound like small.
Not a small business. Yeah.
No, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's kind of all like it to me, I liken it to like a train starting off. The front of the train can't move faster than the back of the train. And when you're creating a supply chain, that supply chain, that economic stimulus goes back into funding public education, public, utilities, housing, things like that. Resource protection, it all has to take off at the same time. We have to build the entire thing at the same time, because you can't build one thing and expect it to sustain and then come back and build another thing. You got to kind of build it all out together like a train. And I think, that's kind of, where my idea is in terms of, these kinds of things. So sorry that was a little bit long-winded.
No. It's okay. I understand, because like you said, like you have all these moving parts together and they need to connect in order to make it all work. So I completely understand that. So within that and within reason, so with everything that you said, what protections, if any, should you place for renters and first-time homebuyers?
Well, so one thing is, like, I'm just a regular guy. I'm a soil scientist and a dad. Okay. So I don't know about some of these things. I don't know all the nitty gritty details, but, one of the things that I pledge to do is to talk to people inside my district, get ideas from inside my district, and not going outside of the district, outside of the state to, with these influence peddlers and power brokers from outside of the state to do their bidding. I want to get the ideas from people inside the district. And if we need to bring in people, experts from outside that can work for us, I'm a true representative is what I'm saying. So like there are things that I know about, like agriculture related, environment related, but, in terms of like, rent support, and first time home buyer things, I'm going to look to other people to find out, okay, what do we need to do? But, whatever it is, I'm all about like creating pathways for first time home buyers, because that's, we have to have that. We can't
Yeah.
we can't the way things are going with becoming too expensive for young people to be able to buy a home and to be able to afford rent. It's not working, and so
Yeah.
we have to be able to do something. And I'm all
Yeah.
for equity in terms of making it possible to live the American dream. Like we need to get back to the point to where if a mom wants to be a stay-at-home mom and dad wants to work, or vice versa, if that's your flavor, whatever. um we need to get back to the point to where one person can operate, can finance a home, and right now it's like two people can't even hardly finance
Yeah.
a home
Yeah.
starting
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And so but yeah, I'm my point is, I'm not an expert on that particular thing, but I do recognize it as a problem, and I will look to the experts. Not I'm not a corporatist. I don't have anything inherently against corporations that are ethical and do work for the people, but I think some corporations have they're kind of like psychopathic, sociopathic in terms of their nature. And so predatory, these big corporations that are buying up all the properties and then flipping it and driving up the rent price. Like that's got to stop. We
Yeah.
gotta put an end to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do like all the ideas that you just said. I especially like how you're saying that you want to see what the actual needs are first before developing a plan in that area. You're not trying to fake the funk and say, "Oh, I know exactly what needs to be done right there." You're like, "No, I'm going to
Right.
go to the people and see what the people need, and then I'm going to execute a plan for them." So I do like that. Yes. Okay, so we are about to go on to the next topic. Before we do, I would just like to remind anybody, if anybody has any questions, they're more than welcome to ask. We could put them in the group chat, and we're able to even able to bring you up to ask if you would like to. Also, I would just like to quickly throw out there, with our vote counts, we are always looking for new moderators. So if there's anybody out there who decides, hey, I want to give this a try, just let any one of us know, and you could come aboard. So for the next section, we are going to go over voters' rights. So, how can Indiana ensure both elections securely and voter accessibility? So how can you how can you ensure both the security of the election and the voter accessibility?
Yeah. So one of the things I like about Indiana is they do have early voting. And we're in early voting right now for the primary. The primary here is May 5th. And so I'm going to vote Saturday, actually. And so that's one of the things I like. We don't have vote by mail unless it's absentee. You can vote by mail absentee, but you have to have there's like a list of criteria, you have to meet one of those criteria in order to do that. I don't think that, I think we need to expand voter by mail, because, like my mother, she lives in Alabama, but, and they don't make it easy there to vote by mail, vote absentee. And so she's 89. She's going to be to the point where she's not literally going to be able to get to the polls.
Yeah.
And so, that's, we got to make it, make it possible for everybody to be able to vote. And, I'm all for a national holiday for election day. We need to have 100% turnout. One of my complaints.
That is a good idea. That is a good idea.
One of my complaints about, just it's not really anybody's fault, I guess. I mean, you could place blame on certain politicians, I think, but in terms of like society, we do we do what we can. But
Yeah.
one of the problems is we have very low voter turnout. The legal non-voter who sits at home on election day wins in a landslide every election at every level, federal, state, county, local. That could change change the entire makeup of this country if that population could vote or would vote.
Yeah.
And so we need to, not talk about shortening early voting. We need to talk about expanding early voting. We need to talk about getting mail-in voting, or, we've got, there's this thing at through the IRS. You can do ID Me. I don't know if you've heard of that, but you can, when you file electronically, you have to prove your identity to e-file, and that's one of the ways you get a PIN through. You put in on your taxes. You put in the little PIN. But I got my PIN this year from doing ID Me through the federal government, and it's just a matter of you scan your Indiana has a little gold star on their IDs that is I forget what they call it, but it's the one where to get one of those IDs, you have to prove your citizenship and your residency. You have to prove your residency, citizenship, and you have to prove your identity, excuse me. Okay. So in order to get that,
very intense process.
Yeah, right. And so now they're talking about at the federal level to make it to where that's not good enough all of a sudden. Well, that's the same thing that would be required to get a passport, that same process. What I went through to get my ID is the same process that someone would have to do to get a passport. So why wouldn't my ID be sufficient? And so, just you could, we can figure out a way to vote electronically, from home. Don't even have to leave home. Scan your ID, scan the front, the back, and there you go.
That would be very good.
That's
especially
just
for the elderly population.
100%. Yeah. That's to me, that's where the revolution is happening, is at the polls. Yeah. And realistically speaking, we have to use the power that we have. And that's one of the biggest powers that we have, is to show up on election day. And, I'm a firm believer that the more people vote, the better outcome we get. It's like that meme I saw, I've seen before. It's when there's not many people voting on what's the best Mexican restaurant, Taco Bell wins, y'all are you from Texas, right? Are you from Texas?
No, I'm from
okay.
Georgia. I'm in Colorado. Well, I'm from Georgia.
I thought that there was somebody on Our Vote Counts from Texas, and so I know Texas has a lot of good taco places. I haven't had a chance
to meet everybody just yet.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, whenever there's low voter turnout, you're not going to get the best. You're going to get half the population's idea of who's a good candidate. So, I think the more people that show up, the better. And, I'm ready to look at, all of the ways that we can possibly expand, the voting population.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. That is awesome. So, and I do see in the comments, Buttermilk said that we do have somebody that is from Texas. Do you remember the name of the person that we have that is from Texas, Buttermilk? She might be able to let us know that in just a minute. I
just know that whenever I was down in Dallas, there was a lot of really good taco places. and
Okay.
like,
Yeah,
like
I can
places
imagine.
like that.
I
Yeah, I've
bet.
never
Yeah.
even seen or heard of these places, but like
Oh my gosh, I
you
bet
can't
they're
even
so
look in
good.
any direction and see like no taco stand or taco
Yes, I bet they have
restaurant.
the best of the best.
It is. It's good.
Yes, Alice and Johnny from Texas. So that's good. That's good. Sure, I turn off all my settings and stuff. So our next question was if you pretty much answered this question already. If you was to support any changes to the voting laws, what would they be? You kind of spit out a lot of the ideas that you had about the way we would vote and being able to vote online security and things of that nature. So I think all of that is really, really good. So how would you plan to increase voters' participation? I know you said that that's an issue. We need to get it out there. What are some ideas that you could think of that you might be able to throw out there? Or something?
Well, yeah, one thing would be to just, make it a national holiday. For like
That is a
literally like
good idea.
make it taboo to
Mm-hmm.
force somebody to work on that
Mm-hmm.
day, or at
Mm-hmm.
least, make sure that, they have the opportunity to go, like, and not just go after work and wait in a really long line,
Mm-hmm.
um and again, like when we expand early voting, that also takes the pressure off of, the lines and long waits that you have on election day. But I know that some of the most critical districts out there in the country, they keep like hammering on their like polling, or their polling places, and like taking them away where, people have to drive further, or they just have fewer
Mm.
places where it just bottlenecks people. And if you
Yeah.
got just one, if there's no early voting and everybody's like bottlenecked into one place,
Oh
and you got
gosh.
like waiting in line. And I know in Georgia they made the law where you can't even give somebody a bottle of water, who's waiting in
Mm.
line. Like this is
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
ridiculous. Like what kind of
Yeah.
I mean, and I know, like, I'm a common sense person, like I don't believe in voter fraud, like I'm not trying to steal votes. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I don't think that's right. But if you look at, like, who was it? Bill Barr, Donald Trump's first attorney general, or
Mm-hmm.
no, it was his second attorney general after Jeff Sessions. But Bill Barr said there's no appreciable voter fraud in this country. Like,
Yeah.
nothing to overturn any election. Like, there's been cases of voter fraud, but it's a handful of votes, and it's never amounts to enough to overturn an election. So,
Yeah.
like, all this talking about voter fraud is like, it's tiresome and it's irrelevant. And
Yeah.
so this fear that there's, this mass of people that's trying to, like, flood in and like vote illegally, it's just not happening. And but at the same time, like, I do understand, like, there's really nothing wrong with being able to identify yourself
Yeah.
when you go to the polls. I know a lot of people, like, kind of make they kind of they argue against that particular aspect. But it's like this: look, if people are trying to take something away from you, that tells you that it matters, and
Yeah.
you can be damn sure that I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
If somebody's trying to take away my right to vote, I'm going to make damn sure I get whatever I need to get it done, because they're trying
Exactly.
to take it away from me for a reason.
Exactly. Completely agree with you there. So, and I like that. Those are some good ideas. I especially like the taking off, making it a national holiday to take off the vote. So, I think that would increase the vote. Oh, excuse me. Especially if they knew that it was dependent on them voting. Doesn't matter who you vote for. We're not telling you who to vote for and how to vote and everything. We're just saying, if you go vote, we're making it a national holiday. I think people will secure that holiday. So I think people will really secure that holiday.
Another one, like what you just said is like create different carrots or sticks, and like, some type of tax penalty or tax bonus. Either way you want to flip it, like the same way they did with the Affordable Care Act. Like if you didn't have any insurance and you didn't sign up for the Affordable Care Act, then you get a penalty on your taxes.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you don't show, your proof that you voted, then, like there's some type of penalty or some type of bonus that comes with that.
I wouldn't necessarily say a penalty, but a bonus sounds like a really, really good idea. I think that would be really enticing or something. So yeah. Or maybe if it's a penalty, I have it designed in a certain way or so. Yeah. Yeah,
like maybe like you get a bonus if you do vote. You're not eligible for the bonus if you don't vote,
yeah.
Something like that, like you can kind of create it like in a way that it's not like actually penalizing someone, but the same effect is there. Like people are going to go after it if they're getting a financial benefit for it.
Yeah. I love
it. And then that teaches them like, look, this is important, like, and like in schools and stuff, like, we really need to, like, let people understand, young people understand what is your power in life.
Yeah.
Like where does your power lie?
Yeah.
Your power is your right to vote, your right to run for office, how you spend your money, your freedom of choice on how you spend your money, where you decide to live. These are all things that can move the needle, especially if we do them in mass.
Yeah. I love it. So now we're going to go into the first round of the rapid fire questions. Woo! Are you ready? Yes.
I guess. I'm ready or not.
Okay. So first question. Oh, wait. Well, I'm sorry. I apologize. I was in the wrong era. Okay. So lower taxes or increase public investment?
Okay, I really want to answer more on that, but I'll say increase public investment.
Okay, and now if you want to elaborate, you can, especially if you answer it. Go ahead.
Well, like we have a graduated tax system, and I think over the years, the highest earners or the most wealthy people have been paying less and less since Eisenhower, I think, or Reagan. When Eisenhower was president, the wealthiest Americans paid, the highest taxes. And so since Reagan, it's really gone down from there. But, I think that the lower and middle income earners should be paying the lowest taxes. Yeah. And the tax breaks should not be going towards, the upper class or the upper earners, or not even earners. They're not really doing anything. They're just, they have money and they have it in some type of investment that's creating capital gains. And like those funds, that earning needs to be taxed, especially if they're not really doing anything.
Working for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're actually actively working for it. It's another if you're just sitting around just having money trickle all over you. So
exactly.
Okay, so next one. State control or local control?
Definitely local control.
Okay. So yes or no? Should term limits be implemented for state legislators?
No.
Okay.
And I would also like to elaborate on that, but well, I'll just say that I think that money needs to be out of politics. And if you take the money out, then the election cycle kind of takes care of that term limit. Like if everybody's working on the same financial foundation, like if a new person has the same level of finances that an incumbent has, and there's a limit on how much can be raised and how much can be spent. I really believe that money should be out of politics, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Like, I'm not really pushing. Like, I haven't called a single person and asked for money. I want votes. I want to knock on doors and talk to people. I don't want to buy commercials and buy yard signs and, do all these things that traditional politics has said that we're required to do. But yeah.
Let it know that you are real and tangible. I love that. Okay. Economic growth or environmental protection?
Environmental protection.
And I like that you think about that my family is really big on that. So my son's actually going for environmental engineering in college. So yeah. And last one, yes or no? Should government spending be reduced overall?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
so.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, they have too much time in their hands and they're just thinking of things just to spend money on. So yes. So awesome. So we are going to go on to the next topic. And before I do, I would just like to remind anybody, if anybody has any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask it in the chat or let us know. And we will even bring you up here so that you can ask the question on camera. Okay. Also, if there's anybody that's interested in moderating for our vote accounts, come join the fun. Okay. So the next topic is going to be, let me see here. Our next topic is going to be public education. Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. Okay, our next topic is going to be healthcare.
Okay.
So what is your approach to improving healthcare access in rural communities?
Well, we can stop defunding, these rural hospitals, number one. And, I think that we need to give more incentive to healthcare workers to establish, their practice in rural areas. There's just, there's these like healthcare deserts in a lot of rural areas, and to the point to where a lot of old people, they got to drive like a really long distance to go to see a specialist or go to the hospital. And I think, I think if we look at how the money has been spent in terms of, what we're already spending, and kind of make that more efficient, fix, prescription drug prices, with how much people are spending there. But yeah, I think that, we have to create incentives. Like, it could be, student loan forgiveness, and things like that for healthcare workers that, or quicker, I know that they do get some, student loan forgiveness, but, more assistance to get people to go back, into the rural communities and set up shop out there. There's probably other ones, and I'm open to, people, telling me their ideas. I really believe that a bill starts with an idea and the constituency getting together and hashing it out there. And that's how you create durable policies, is through that, like hashing it out, at the constituency level.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I'm definitely open to other ideas on that.
Yeah, I like that. I personally, I am a insurance agent. And so,
Okay.
and I worked for Arkansas Blue Cross Blue Shield for a few years before starting my own business and so. But this
Okay.
past health season was a big change, and what I noticed, and this is Arkansas, so I'm talking about specifically, but since you talked about rural areas or so, this might be a thought or so because I focused on this. There is that there were a lot of people one year they had a plan where if you lived right on the border of those rural areas or so, but your doctor was in the area, it needed to be the next town over or so, they used to have a plan that covered them. But when the laws changes, they had to redesign their insurance plans. They dropped that. And the thing is that there is where it became a really big problem, the people that were right on the border of Arkansas. And there was a little town right on the border where none of the doctors were in that area, but they had to cross the city line, and the city line was the state line. And before it would, before it would cover them, but when the changes to the law came, it no longer covered them. And I don't know if that was just Blue Cross Blue Shield or if it's all insurance companies had to do that or so. But there were a lot of people that I had to encounter that was very distraught because of that. They was no longer able to see their doctors. They had to completely revamp and everything like that, So I was thinking, gosh, they should at least allow them, knowing that there are no doctors in the area. If it's a special situation, they should at least allow them like 30 miles outside the area or something like that, what makes sense. There's so much red tape that goes into healthcare. It's ridiculous.
And like, I like how telehealth kind of expanded during COVID. And, if we can continue to expand telehealth, I know like face-to-face is required for a lot of things, but there are things that can be taken care of with telehealth, and just getting people that technology to where they can, like the person, not the healthcare provider, but a lot of people may not like be tech savvy and be able to do that. But those times are changing, I know, but there's still a lot of old people out there that like they don't know how to do, like if you want it, if somebody told my mom to do telehealth, she'd be like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. Definitely. So the next question, how should the state address rising healthcare costs for working families?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Just rising costs in general is a big problem I see. But I think it kind of starts with the cost of education. Like, I know that might sound weird, but like a doctor charges what they charge a lot of times based on like they're trying to pay off their own student loans that they've gotten to get through med school, and it kind of trickles out from there, but I don't really have a good answer for you on that. I know it's a multi-prong. It's going to take a multi-prong solution, like both with, making the funding the public funding that goes towards healthcare more efficient, making the price, like the student loan price of doctors, less coming out of universities, and then also like better healthcare provision from employers, like you name it, like corporations are making hand over fist. But a lot of times their contribution could be more, their contribution to the healthcare plan could be more. And then, the environmental thing. Sorry, it's getting dark around me.
It's okay.
Car, so, but like, looking at root causes, it's indeed, I believe, a multi-prong required requires a multi-pronged solution. And then like economic stimulus to where people are making good money, they're they're able to stay in their job that they went to school for or did their training for, and they're able to continue to move up and have upward mobility. All of these things I think would be beneficial towards addressing that. But yeah, I don't think there's probably one silver bullet.
Yeah. You are absolutely right. I completely agree with you there. And so for the last question though, for this section, what role should the state government play versus private providers in healthcare delivery?
Well, I think we saw from COVID, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, that human health is a common good, right? There's common goods, there's like public goods, and there's private goods. And public health is a public good, a common good. The health of my neighbor has an effect on my health, right?
Yeah.
And so, public funding, whether it be to fund in some of these areas where a private hospital doesn't want to set up shop, let's let the state take care of it. Let's let the county or whoever, the government has to step in and do that. Yeah. Right. It's just a matter of like looking at the budget, how much money there is to spend on that, taking care of the efficiency in terms of, making things, most efficient. And, I'm not saying that there's not like waste, fraud, and abuse that's happening in the medical industry and like healthcare and whatever. Yeah. But we just have to take a look at it, shore that up, make things more efficient, and let the state and local or counties step up and provide, whether it be just like a walk-in clinic, a little small place, in a town, or, if a hospital is needed. But you can't get blood from a turnip, right? You can't, like, if there's no money to do it, there's no money. But like this latest big beautiful bill, I think it was, like, stripped a lot of money away from rural hospitals and rural healthcare. And so where's that money going now? Is that I think that money went towards a tax break for billionaires, but I'm not sure. And so again, like, we got to get the tax, the graduated tax brackets fixed. And corporations got to start paying their fair share. I know that, like, it's all about, the shareholder. I've been a consultant for different large corporations, and you hear that in meetings constantly. The shareholder is our boss. Well, I'm sorry, like, if your executives are making like millions and millions of dollars, then like that's not good for your employees. It's not good for your shareholders. Like, we got to figure out a way to make equity and justice permeate through, corporations and corporate, employee systems. And again, like, I'm not trying to act like I'm Superman, like, I don't, my mom say so-and-so thinks they're going to work wonders and eat rotten cucumbers. And I'm not one of those people, like, I know that I don't know everything. And I want to give regular people a voice at the table. That's all I'm trying to do. And so I know that we can work it out. If we get these big power broker money grubbers influence peddlers away from the table and get regular people at the table,
Yeah.
we will find solutions.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. I like that. I like that. So we will transition into the next topic of job creation. I know we talked about this a lot throughout everything. So just to be more specific, what strategies would you use to bring more jobs to District 16?
Well, so one thing I would want to do is, sorry, my lighting is not great right now.
And then we getting dark outside and everything.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's making it so hard for you.
So like I alluded to this earlier with like creation of a supply chain. Mm-hmm. So I live in an agricultural community, and so I think that we have to like descale. And what I mean by that is like the farmland and the farms around my area is just corn and soybeans. That's all they produce is corn and soybeans. So we have to figure out a way. And this is one of the things I actually like about RFK Jr. is with like MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, is that like food is medicine.
Yeah.
Right. And this kind of gets to like the root causes of our healthcare problems, or our health problems. So we have to, break up some of these very large scale operations. And we're already seeing that like our market in China for soybeans is gone. Like they're not buying, it's not gone, but like they're not buying as many soybeans as they used to be. Yeah. And like commodity prices just, they're never such that farmers can really thrive. They're always kind of eking by, and so like why can't, like I live right across the street from like a 100-acre field, but there's nothing out there that I can eat. Nothing being produced out there that I can eat. Why can't we convert some of this to like small fruits and vegetable production? And so and expanding the rotation instead of just 2 crops, corn and soybeans, it could be 10 crops, a 10-year rotation where you get animals, you get like beef, chickens, hogs out on the land. That improves the soil. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that improves like it's kind of like a multifaceted thing, right? Like you address like animal welfare, quality food, local food, a small business supply chain. And so all of these things are going to create markets, right? If they're growing food locally that we can eat locally, there's going to have to be like, processing plants that are local. Yeah. There's going to have to be like markets, farmers markets, slaughterhouses, and there used to be all of those things, but they all dried up when corporations took over with big ag and kind of drove out all these, smaller farmers. But that is my kind of linchpin in terms of economic development, job creation in my area is, I was at a Jasper County, Indiana, which is in my district, planning commission meeting the other night. And they had 2 things on the docket that they were voting on. One of them was a hog barn that they were trying to put in place. And the next thing was a power generator that's going to power an AI data center. Okay. Both of those things use water. And the hog barn, they were talking about how it's going to pull all this water and change the water dynamics of all the farmers around there. And then they come back later on. Well, and while the hog barn was was being talked about, 4 or 5 different commissioners said, we are an agricultural county. We are an agricultural county. Said it 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. Then they come right after that and start talking about funding or approving this place that's going to be an AI data center. It's going to, power an AI data center. It's going to use up all kinds of water, like way more water than the hog barn. And they're all in favor of it. I got up there and I said, hey, are you an agricultural county or not? You can't have the AI data center and everything else that you want. Like this AI data center is going to suck up literally all the water for all the farms, the houses, everything. Like there's not going to be any other water left. And so, I think we have to put money back into small farms, small local processing plants, and all of that's going to lead to jobs. Like the chemical industry has gotten rid of and the high mechanization of everything has basically ended what used to be like a good summer job for like high school students and college students. Like people used to work out in the fields. There is none of that anymore because it's too much of a liability. There's so much toxic chemicals out there. And so anyway, I'm being long-winded again.
It's okay. It's okay. This is what we're here for. So, okay. So, then how can the state better support small businesses and entrepreneurs? If you had to choose, what would be the best thing for them to do that?
Well, Indiana already has a very good community college system. It's called Ivy Tech, and it's linked up with both Purdue University and IU and like all this like public state universities. Like so, there are certain credits that you can go to Ivy Tech and then have it transfer to to the colleges if you wanted to do that. But I think that would be a great place to, have like a foundry for entrepreneurship at the Ivy Tech, because they do have those types of programs at Purdue University, I know, and but like in terms of like like maybe there's people out there that don't want to go to college or they can't afford to go to the college. It's crazy expensive now to go to college. If you're gonna take on that student debt, like it might not be worth it. The ROI might not be there, you know what I mean? So and so there might be, there are definitely people out there that's got good ideas. They just need a little bit of like, in chemistry, I took a lot of chemistry classes in college, and there's this thing called the energy of activation. So if you look at a graph on a reaction that happens, there's always like a little hump, and it's got to get over that hump. Once you get over that hump, the reaction goes all the way by itself. Doesn't need any help, but it needs the help getting over that little hump. And that's what we need for entrepreneurs. They gotta have some money. They gotta have some skills, that they can get training to do a certain thing or not. But yeah, I think, funding towards like, and it's starting actually, like they do have a really good program that where like the high school students can work in kind of like VOTech take VOTech classes that could then transfer to Ivy Tech if they wanted to. But I think it really starts with it should start in grade school and high school, like teaching people to be entrepreneurial minded. But yeah, like, I know throwing money at everything, we can't fund everything that we want to fund. But when you fund entrepreneurship, you're funding a future small business,
Yeah.
right? And that's economic stimulus. That's tax revenue. That's good jobs. Like the small businesses were the powerhouse of job creation. I don't know about if they still are or not, but I think that's,
we need our mom and pops. We need our mom and pops.
We got to have the mom and pops.
Yes.
And
yes, we would not have a solid foundation without them.
And that's just a common sense investment, investing in small business. I listen to Dave Ramsey, the financial guy. Like he's always saying, like, invest in small business. Mm-hmm. Like we as a society need to invest in small businesses.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. That's so true. So I really quick, I just want to go ahead and highlight one of the questions that we have for Ms. Buttermill. Says, what is his ideas on creating job growth for veterans returning to civilization life, civilian life?
Okay, so this actually ties in with what we were just talking about. Mm-hmm. I already wrote a draft proposed bill called the Save Vets Act. And, it's just an idea right now. It's going to have to, go through the ringer of all the peer review and all, like all the people are going to have to look at it and get their ideas in there too. But what it was, the goal of it was to provide, financial support, education, and training to any Gold Star family or Medal of Honor recipient in the military, for them to be able to start their own farm, right? Because one of the problems is that, like, somebody that doesn't farm and has no in into farming, chances are they're not going to be able to farm, even if they wanted to. The capital costs, there's just so much of a barrier to being able to start off from nothing. Yeah. It's that energy of activation, right? Yeah. And this was just kind of a no-brainer. If we take the Medal of Honor recipients, Gold Star families, we've got enough. We can find the money, to give them, to give them the financial support. Maybe it's like low or no interest loans to purchase land, or tuition waivers for their education, or like apprenticeships to other farmers. But that's, that vision was just kind of a starting ground, right? Like my mother worked for the VA, the Veterans Administration. She worked for the state of Alabama, retired there after 35 years, and then worked for the Veterans Administration for another 10 years. And while she was working there, she got a firsthand look, and I got to hear about how, we encourage people to get in the military, and then they come home, and then we forget about them. And then they actually, like, try to make it hard for them to get their benefits. Like the people that work at the VA, like, won't help the vets go through the process. They are there, like, if the vet wants to come and apply for benefits, but it's kind of like the answer is always no. The first answer is always no. You don't get these benefits. Yeah. They have to keep going, keep fighting, get a lawyer, get, like, do this, do that, and prove, and show that they, like, deserve these benefits, right? And so things like that to, like, expand the, entrepreneurship, whether it be farming or some other type of entrepreneurial business, or whatever it is. We 100% have to take care of the vets. And, you know, this is just, again, like, this is investment. It's small business investment that's going to pay back in spades. And so, you know, mental health is a big thing with vets, right? They get back. They sometimes get into drugs and alcohol because they have like the PTSD, or maybe they have some other type of mental challenge that, you know, and there, I think, you know, I'm just imagining, I didn't serve, but I'm just imagining like people that serve, there's a brotherhood, there's a sisterhood, there's a fellowship to being active in serving. You know, there's people all around you all the time, and you come home and you're just like on an island, you know, there's nobody to talk about or to talk to share these problems with. A lot of times when they first come home, we need to give them a social network, a safety net, you know, whether it's, you know, and like the VFWs, veterans of foreign wars, American Legion, AMVETS, like a lot of these places, like the one just down the road from my house, it closed down. Like it was a bunch of old guys that was there. And I know that there's younger guys that could benefit from going to having that social network of like a VFW or an American Legion. But again, like no silver bullet, but we 100% have to take care of our vets.
Yeah. Yes, that's good answer. Good answer. Hi, Miss Ayana. How are you doing? We are joined by Miss Ayana.
Hey,
Hello.
What did you want to say?
Hello, Mr. Ashley. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. So today, surprisingly, I received one of those random surveys about my feelings about the upcoming elections. I'm in Ohio, by the way.
Okay.
And I don't, you know, I always say, oh, I never get to take those surveys, and nobody ever calls me to take a survey or whatever. And I got one. And one of the questions was about types of leadership. What qualities do I look for in a political leader? And of course, we have a big governor's race here. And one of the questions was, what is it about this particular person? And they gave a list of qualities do you think they would need to get your vote? And one of them was toughness, compassion, loyalty, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm thinking, I don't know, do I want a compassionate leader or do I want a tough leader? Do I want someone who's going to stay loyal to their party, or do I want someone who has great ideas, who's innovative? You seem like a compassionate person, right? You're very empathetic. Do you think that is enough to lead your district? Or do you think something more is needed? Do you think some toughness is needed? Like maybe you have to have some throw the hammer down type attitude? Or do you think this is it? This is what they need.
Well, I think I am empathetic, but I'm definitely a tough-minded person. And I'll give you an example of that. Okay. I went up to this Jasper County Planning Commission meeting Monday night, and I spoke my piece. I had 9 points that I raised related to the two electrical power generators that they're planning to put in, and you know, basically about like what are the environmental impacts, what's NIPSCO, the power generator owner and the utility company, what's their revenue growth, how much money are they going to be making off of this thing, and then what's their financial contribution to the health related impacts that's going to inevitably come from this power generator. Okay. Of course, nobody answered any questions. But as soon as I stepped out of the meeting, this gentleman comes up behind me and says, "Hey, Mr. Hammac, I don't appreciate you coming up here campaigning and talking about these things, just trying to put your name out, get your name out. You don't live here, blah, blah, blah." And at first I was kind of defensive, just telling him, "Look, I wasn't campaigning. I was representing the people." But then I got an idea of what this person's motivation was. I found out that, oh, actually he's friends with the guy I'm running against. Oh, he's a Jasper County commissioner himself and he's on the other side. Oh, he's actually representing NIPSCO. And so I put the hammer back down on him right there before God and everybody. And so, it's not that I'm not tough. It's that I'm,
you don't lead with
I don't lead, right. I don't lead with that. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
I
don't put that
That's
out
not the
there.
first thing that goes into the room.
Yeah. I'm a gentle person.
Yes.
But it's like Dave Chappelle's mama told him, sometimes you got to be a lion so that you can be the lamb that you are.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to drop the hammer if you have to drop the hammer. I don't want to drop the hammer if I don't have to, but I'm willing to go to bat for the people that I represent. And I have my own personal views on things. I've been, my mom and dad were very politically active when I was growing up. My mom ran for commissioner of agriculture in Alabama, was the first woman to ever run for commissioner of agriculture in the state of Alabama. So I have my own ideas, but I'm going to check those at the door when I step into the chamber to represent the people of my district.
Right. Because it's not about you.
It's not about me. Right. It's about the district. What we can do to make the district strong, healthy, the best we can be. And so, like I don't want to be, this like mean, tough guy, like I'm not that kind of person, but, I have boundaries, and if someone crosses my boundaries, they're going to know that they've crossed my boundaries and that we're not going to do that.
And, sometimes you have to have those with your party too, right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, like in this process, I have argued more with my Democratic, counterparts in other districts than I have with Republicans, honestly. And it's not that I don't disagree with, a lot of what Republicans, stand for. I think a lot of Republicans are just, honestly, I think they're just misguided, misled to think that these policies that they promote are good for regular people. They're good for somebody, but it's not regular, lower and middle, wage earners. And so, but, like, I one of my complaints about the Democratic Party is they do have like these weak type of candidates a lot of times that don't like, that don't push back, that don't fight.
Right.
We need some fight in the Democratic Party. I'm not like your traditional Democrat. I'm a very moderate person in terms of my personal beliefs. I believe in the Constitution, and I think that it is definitely worth fighting for. And like I said earlier, it's never been perfect. It's not perfect now, but we can bend it. We can bend it towards more perfect.
Okay, Mr. Ashley, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, back to your regularly scheduled program, Divine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we will go into this next section with the second round of the rapid fire questions while we have this time left. And right before I say that, I would just like to say that if remember that if anybody has any questions, they can ask at any time. We'll even bring you up, like Miss Ayana just came up. And if anybody wants to be a moderator for us, let us know. So, okay, so rapid fire questions, round 2. This is more a little fun one. Are you an early riser or night owl?
Definitely an early riser. I gotta follow the sun.
Oh yeah. My children pick at me all the time. Like, you turn around at 7 o'clock, I'm probably in the bed. But I'm up by 5 at least.
Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Yes. City life or country life?
I gotta say country life now. I was a city boy growing up, but I love my country life.
Yes. Even though I'm in the city now, I love the country life. Can't beat that at all. Phone calls or text messages?
Phone calls to get to know someone and to connect with family. Text messages to kind of,
Quick answer.
in between the phone calls.
Okay. And sweet or savory?
Dang. This is hard. I'm going to go savory.
Okay. Give me an example of what would be a good savory meal for you. A dish.
Oh my gosh. I tell you what, my new thing that I'm on is like some short ribs, beef short ribs that you cook like pot roast with some carrots and potatoes and onions. And with, now that you don't think I'm crazy, but there's like the bone marrow, like you can buy these little bones, and you cook the bone with the bone marrow in there.
Oh, those are good.
And just like get that bone marrow out and like put it all over. Oh my gosh, so good.
Good. Sounds good. So I just have a few more questions for you, and then we're just gonna wrap this up. Actually, we went through almost all of the questions with all the topics that I have over here. However, I know that we started off with the public education and somehow skipped down to the affordable housing. That's my fault. I completely take blame for that. So I would like to follow up and just backtrack just a little bit with the public education, if that's okay with you. And it's just to ask, how would you balance funding between public school, charter school, or school choice programs, if that was an option?
So I'm not really a big believer in like the voucher program, I don't know if that actually applies here, but like a charter school is kind of like is that like a public school that has, excuse me, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
A charter school is kind of like a public school that is kind of like private, where they control who is accepted.
Charter schools, there are more private schools. They do control who's accepted with those.
Yeah, so I don't really think that we should be directing public funds towards a private entity like that, especially like a private school. So I think that we should draw a hard line there. And I just realized that my screen protector is cracked like right over my camera.
Right.
So I'm really sorry about my, it looks like
that is okay.
But
it's my voice that has to remind me, like, Mom, God, it's time to get it changed.
I know. I gotta go to the mall and let them do it for me. But yeah, like we have some voucher programs, or like some private schools that are like trying to get voucher money, and I don't really think that's a good use of public funds. And I understand, like people think that public schools aren't for them. Like, that's freedom of choice. You should be able to like do that. But we got to figure out a different way, for them to be able to do that privately. Or maybe, and I'm not saying that public schools don't need to improve, there's, but, one of the things that I noticed, I right out of college, I worked in the Department of Environmental Management in the state of Alabama. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I noticed was that they would defund our programs to the point to where they were dysfunctional. And then they would point to it and say, look, that department is dysfunctional. Look at what they're doing. They can't even do their job.
Yeah.
And then they would try to defund it even more, right? Yeah. They're trying to get rid of the whole department. But it's like, dude, you just defunded us. So we don't even have half the staff that we used to have. And, the funding never goes up along with inflation. It, usually goes down, on programs like that. And so schools are the same way. Like, you can't defund a public school and then watch it have problems and then say, oh, look how dysfunctional they are, you just did that.
Yeah. Exactly. So, well, I want to thank you again for coming on. Our vote counts again with us. We're very happy to have had you here. I also would like to invite you out to one of our roundtable sessions, what happens every other Sunday, when we invite the candidates to come back and you guys are all together in one room and we're talking about the topics.
Sounds great.
Dates are available there. And I would because we have filled in a lot of the dates, what we have available here. If you're interested, we do have one coming up on May 10th. I would like to invite you back out to be with the other candidates for that. Would you be interested in coming back out and we can send you an invite?
Yeah, sure. I would love to.
Okay, awesome. So we will put you down on the calendar for May 10th and we will give you another invite. What is one thing that you would like to go ahead and let voters know about you? What is the most important thing that you would like to know? Most
important thing, I said this at the beginning, I'm not a politician. Mm-hmm. I'm a father and a soil scientist. I really just want to go back to doing that. I want to set an example for other people, other regular people, to run for office, and preserve our system of self-governance. I'm just a regular guy. I'm not, a smooth talker. I don't wear suits, to work. When I went up to visit the State House, I was wearing a plaid red and black check plaid shirt, and, so yeah, I'm just a regular guy, and I just believe in this country. I believe in preserving what we have and making it better, making it better in terms of equity, justice, wealth, and all that, but at the same time, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. I would love to inspire others to follow and do, regular people to step up and commandeer this thing back away from these influence peddlers and power mongers,
And my next closing question: what do you want voters in District 16 to feel confident about when they consider your name on the ballot?
I want them to feel confident that they will have a true representative when they call on me, when they reach out to me and express their what their interests are. I want them to know that I got their back. And, we can talk about it. We're going to have town halls. We're going to hash it out. and we're going to come to some good common sense solutions that lead to durable policy, the policy
Yeah.
that sticks.
I like that. I like that. So I like politicians that let you know, like, hey, I'm human. Come, let's sit, let's talk. So I think those that is very, very needed, because you never know who's looking. It was one of the hardest times of my life where I don't even know if any of the policies that she put through actually affected me or so, but it was that one politician was mayor of Walthamville over here that in Georgia that looked at me at the time that I needed it the most. Just checked on me. So that
See?
those things are very, just let me know, hey, I'm human and I see you. So yes. Let everybody know how they can contact you. What are your social media contacts, your emails, social media sites?
So my TikTok is at Ashley for Indiana House 16. My Facebook is the same. Ashley for Indiana House 16, and then my website is something something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is. I think it's Ashley for Indiana House 16.com. But if you just Google my name, Ashley Hammac, ASHLEYHAMMAC, you can find me. My website, my Facebook, my TikTok. I don't have any other. Oh, I have LinkedIn also, but that's like my professional thing. But that's kind of where I hang out mostly on social media right now. I'll probably get Instagram before it's over with, but that's probably about it. But yeah, reach out, like email me. They can email me through the website or through the socials. So direct message,
and
so
that would be the best way to support your campaign, right?
Yes, you can find I have an Act Blue account. I think it's just Ashley Hammac 1, it's like the Act Blue and then / Ashley Hammac 1. But yeah, the link is on my social media and stuff. So if people want to give, which I know times are tough, so I'm not asking for much, like a few dollars if you got it, but anything more than $20, give it to your local church, your local food bank, your local charity.
Okay.
We got to get money out of politics.
Okay. And I know that you're not, but I would just like to go ahead and say I am asking for you, because you have a heart to go through this conversation. You've really shown to me, at least, that you really care for the people. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, if there's anybody out there who knows that they can support his campaign, go ahead, because we want good-hearted people in office. And I'm not even in Indiana, but it's important to get people like you in office. So,
I appreciate you saying that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, just to wrap things up, I would like to say, so for our vote counts, through voter education, candidate outreach, and community engagement, we support leaders who are really ready to serve the people, not special interests. By working across state lines and elevating local and national issues, we aim to increase voter turnout, inform public dialogue, and build momentum for lasting change. Our vote counts is more than just a name. It is a promise, a movement, and a rallying cry for democracy. Together, we are shaping the future, one informed vote at a time. Yes, sir. And I would like to remind everybody to come out Friday 24th to see West Virginia House of Delegates District 55, Aaron Crank. So yes. And that is all that I have for tonight. Yes, thank you everybody for coming out to our vote counts.
All right, thank you, Miss Divine. It was a pleasure. I hope everybody keeps following y'all. Y'all are doing great work.
Yes, thank you so much. You were actually my first candidate that I did all by myself. Yes.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I'm
Well,
officially
hey.
out of training. So,
Yeah, yeah, all
so
right.
thank you. Thank
I'm
you
gonna
so much.
remember it. I'm gonna remember that, Miss Divine. All right. All right.
Well, you have a blessed, wonderful night.